Good morning, everybody, or afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. How are y'all doing? Happy Neptune moving into Aries. What is going on? This is crazy. After new moon solar eclipse in Aries yesterday, as we are in Aries season with an exalted sun in Aries, with so many other things happening in Aries. Y'all, oh my goodness, I missed y'all. How are y'all doing? It has been so I'm there. Okay, so here's the thing. What is going on? This has been a really crazy time, and I just lost my screen. I've been having the most, as you know, Mercury's retrograde. I've been having the most Mercury retrograde moments this past week, and I had all these slides, and they're all gone. So I'm just like, what is going on? So, and then my notes got shuffled around, and I can't even find one of them. So I'm gonna have to just riff, all right, for a lot of, well, I wouldn't say a lot for a couple things I'm gonna tell y'all. But I hope you're doing well. I know the energies are so amped up right now. I'm sure you can feel it. Lot going on, but again, happy everything. I mean, Neptune moving into Aries is such a big deal, and I'm going to break that down for you. But I'm going to do something different, that's more relevant. Okay. But again, remember, we had that new moon solar eclipse yesterday, and wow, you're really feeling that because it's all part of that, six planet conjunction, all at that 0 degrees Aries point, which is, remember, that's that fresh new cycle. And we'll talk more about this, briefly. And, eclipses, I did a post on Instagram. I don't know if you saw it, but they're game changers. I never underestimate the power of an eclipse, of a new moon solar eclipse in Aries. That's huge. Remember, Aries is the beginning. It's the initiator. And so truly this brand new cycle that's happening for you, and it is the last one of the decade. Okay. We don't have one until I think 2033 or something like that. It's going to be a while. So just remember everything that's happening. And the thing with eclipses, as I mentioned in my post, eclipses are different than new moons, right? With new moons, you can set intentions, you can do your rituals, you can do all that. Eclipses, they really actually don't care what intentions you set. However, they put you on your path. They accelerate your timeline. They put sometimes, remember, eclipses can bring the unexpected as well. So they can make you do unexpected things. They can make unexpected things happen in your life, but they're truly putting you on your path, because sometimes you're not on your path. And I explained that in that Instagram post with just one eclipse that happened to me, one of the ones that are most memorable, and how I just went into work one day and just quit. I never planned on it. I was like, what am I doing? While I was doing it in my head. And, I had no backup plan. And so that was that. But again, I wouldn't be here if that didn't happen. Do you know what I mean? Like it will put you on your path. You just have to see how things play out, and the universe is always taking care of you. Okay. So just keep that in mind. And it really is. And if, like I said, you can still set intentions and, put energy out there. You want to do that every day anyway, toward the things that you want. Okay. Because everything's like lining up. There's so many different timelines, but you always want to put your energy out there anyway. And with all the other, aspects that are happening, you want to definitely, I always say, use these aspects. Don't let them use you. Okay. Now, Neptune, and remember, Aries energy is very, again, leadership, pioneering. It's very active. It's very self-starter, self-sufficiency, entrepreneurial. It's fiery. Okay. So, Neptune moving into Aries, obviously going to be a big thing, for the next 14 years in our life. We have not experienced, nobody on this planet has experienced it. It's been 164 years since we've had Neptune in Aries. And so again, It's gonna be a little different because Saturn is moving into Aries next month. Okay, well, what is it? March in May. In May, so you will have Neptune and Saturn together. Okay, briefly. Remember, Saturn's only going to be there for like the summer, and then move back to Pisces for a little bit, but then move back into Aries for about a few years. So anyway, this is the time you really want to take action, okay? Especially with all this Aries energy, this 0 degree Aries energy point. I think I mentioned in a previous live stream, it's when the calendar year started anyway, was in March, was the equinox, the spring equinox, right? Which would be the fall equinox in the southern hemisphere. But it's just this time, that's when the year actually started. It always started here. It wasn't until I think it was like it was the 1700s. It was like 1750 when we adopted the new Gregorian calendar system, right? So it's only been a few hundred years that we've been celebrating the new year in January. So for thousands and thousands of years, it was always this time that we would initiate. Right? We follow the moon calendar, right? And that's like a 28-day. And moon, where does the word come? Where does the word month come from? Moon. All right. So anyway, how are y'all doing? It's so great to see all of y'all. Jean, oh my gosh, Jean, you're amazing. Jean has been with me from the beginning. So great to see. It's always great to see you and your little purple, purple crown shot, the violet. You know what I mean? Like I love that. Hello everybody. I see some new faces. Hello all of y'all. Yes, and Mercury is still retrograde. Right now, pretty much every planet 24 degrees forward. Okay, remember there's 30. We're coming to the end. When you get to that 0 degree point, that's that new beginning, right? So 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29 degrees is that critical degree, right? The anaretic degree. So everyone's going through some major shifts. Everybody, okay? And again, I'm gonna break down what's going on. All right. I won't bring in the asteroids, but just to let you know, Sedna's at 0 degrees. Juno is at 0 degrees. These are strong asteroids. I can't even Aries is at 24 degrees with Chiron at I think Chiron's at 22 degrees, but they're on top of each other. Oh my goodness. A lot of truth, justice, a lot of really nurture, everything. Okay. So I'm going to explain this. What else is happening? There's just so much happening. Okay. So as you know, the energy's been off the charts too. With the Schumann's resonance, I've been bringing that up. So y'all are feeling this. You are feeling these energies. It's the Earth, being electrified, geomagnetically, our magnetic field, right? And I've explained this before. We have a magnetic field, but it's been the weakest it's been ever, right? So when these solar flares happen, they're strong, okay? The frequencies of earth, I always say Earth has a heartbeat, right? And they're really amplified. And when that happens, by the way, speaking of purple and crown chakra, it activates your we're made of energy, right? Everything's made of energy. I explained this. It's not just hermetic principles and spirituality, it's literally physics, right? So but if you break it down in a spiritual sense, yeah, your crown chakras are being activated. I think someone left a comment in one. I read the comment. It's about their throat chakra. Does anybody feel that? I mean, your throat chakra is being activated, and it's because it's adjusting to your crown chakra. There's just so much happening here. Okay. Remember, we just had a major CME, just to let you know, just real quickly, if you're experiencing these energies, which you're seeing it play out globally too. We just had one of the strongest coronal mass ejections in one of the longest, I would even say the century. I think it was 2000. I got to look at it. It was 2000. kilometers a second, but that's like very, very close to the Carrington event that happened in 1859. I mean, that was strong. Luckily, it wasn't headed toward Earth, right? So that's great. But we still, I mean, we know now that we're still at solar peak maximum, and so anyway, well, you see how it affects Earth, okay, with the things that you've seen with Earth lately. All right, I'm at that solar eclipse again yesterday. That 9 degrees. Come on, I explained that as well. 9, we all know about 9. All right, so 2025 is the year of 9. This is the last new moon or solar eclipse that's happening at 9 degrees. It's the end for this new beginning, right? I explained this. Even 9 is literally the last single digit for this new. So we're preparing for 10, which is like the, number. So anyway, if you are feeling fatigued, if you are feeling heavy energies, if you are feeling really tired, and a lot of us are, right? Even headaches, things like that. That's the energy of the Earth, the solar flares, everything energetically that's happening. You throw in the planetary aspects. Oh yeah, you got Mars out of bound, cranky in Cancer, and has been there for many months. Remember, Mars was retrograde in Cancer too, in the place where it doesn't do. It's like some of y'all can't even get off the couch. That's how strong these energies are. Okay. So if you need an explanation of why you may be feeling tired or why you may feel exhausted, everything is just happening at this one convergence point, and then now you're going to see movement as we hit April. Okay, are y'all sleeping okay? It affects your circadian rhythm as well. Are y'all okay? I hope y'all are feeling all right. Because again, a lot of this has to do with Mars and Cancer anyway. If you just want to isolate that, that's a thing. Okay. Remember, Mars has been in Cancer for many, 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 many months. It had like a little bit of like a thing in Leo, but then went retrograde. And so it's not, it's defensive energy. It's heightened emotions, especially around the home, your loved ones, with your loved ones, family, etc. as well. Homeland. Cancer represents homeland. You've seen a lot of homelands being protective about their anyway. So this is, again, Mars is leaving Cancer, where, the thing is, he's gaining speed. Like he's like, who put that Ambien in my coffee, right? Because it's now wearing off. So you're going to start feeling his energies. So you're going to start getting more energy, and you're going to start feeling more proactive and let's get that, because things just have not been. You throw in the fact that we've had Mercury retrograde, we had Venus retrograde, we had all these retrogrades happening at the same time. Nothing. It's been hard. It's been challenging. Okay. But again, remember, we're moving out of that. Okay. We're just moving out of that. And just wait until Mars moves into Leo. Okay. So just keep that in mind. That's like a thing that's happening. And with that in mind, because of these energies, I always say vibrate at this high frequency, and please do. Like, don't, there's anything, like, if you find yourself like doom scrolling, or just not wanting to see people, like, remember, just take moments for yourself, shift your perspective, your perception. Two different things, by the way, right? When you shift your perception to seeing someone else's perspective, that helps. Okay, if you're not seeing eye to eye with someone in your life, that helps. Okay, use, like, putting yourself in someone else's shoes. It just gives you a lot more information too. So it kind of gives you more of an advantage as well. All right, it makes things easier for you. I'm going to explain why I'm talking about this too, because it's going to be a bigger thing for the next 2 weeks. Okay. The like relationships that you have with people in your life, any type of relationships. Okay. And just remember, change is the only constant in this world, right? We all know that. And we are constantly changing. We are constantly evolving. Change is that enthusiasm, right? To be adaptable, right? So it's all about being open-minded to change. As I said, everything is energy, okay? And so you want to live with that heart-based frequency, heart-based living, being receptive to change, because I will let you know right now, we're going through some enormous change, and you're going to see it play out, okay? You're going to see it play out. And so be have that change within you for who you want to be, where you want to be a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, okay? Everything is activated when you think about even all these planets. Like we got like 4 planets, the North Node and Pisces, right? We're still feeling that, eclipse in Virgo that just happened. And then, Jupiter's in Gemini. Like those are all mutable signs, like adaptability. These are, a time of change. Yeah. All right. So Jupiter being detriment in Gemini, that can be, like overthinking, maybe too much information is coming from like all over. So remember, always when you take that time to shift there's a difference between the physical mind and the higher mind. You want to shift into the higher mind. All right. How do you do that? You just, go spend time in nature, take some time out, breathing, breath work, sound therapy, things like that really help, hemisync, right? The brain, I talked about this. And, we are approaching the Jupiter sextile next weekend, which is amazing. All right. That is the luckiest, because we're not going to have a weekend like that. We will have some amazing Jupiter aspects throughout this year, just not on the weekend with a sextile with an exalted sun. All right. And so that is amazing. All right. And that is another thing where everyone just feels it differently, and you just got to see how things play out. Sometimes it can be just very subtle. Everyone has different birth charts. Everyone, like, even if, let's say you're a Gemini, right? Let's say you have like Jupiter and Gemini in your birth chart, okay? Like me, right? It doesn't mean that every Gemini in the world is going to feel that blessing and abundance and good fortune and luck all at the same time in this major crazy way. No, because you can look at the degrees. And so, for example, my Jupiter and Gemini is really late. It's like 26 degrees. And so if you have Jupiter and Gemini in your birth chart, and this applies to any planet in any sign, let's say you have Jupiter and Gemini at like 1 degree. Well, then you would have felt the biggest blast of that Jupiter energy back in May, June of last year. But it doesn't mean you're still not going to get any of that luck. You're going to get it for an entire, like, everyone's going to feel it in different areas of their chart. Like, it's just, everyone's different. You feel things at different times. So just keep that in mind. All right. Keep that in mind. It's a whole thing. And that's why I've been, bringing some of these like placements, if in your readings, like if you have this or if you have that, then in this sign or at this degree, because that makes it more accurate for you. Okay. So anyway, I am doing a reading still for the first, I did it not just for next week, but for like the first 2 weeks, because I really wanted to, and I'll post them on Wednesday, but I really wanted to include that Libra full moon that we're going to have on the 12th, because it is really strong and you are going to feel it. Everyone's going to feel that. All right. And some of y'all are feeling it now. I've seen some of your comments about some of you are feeling it now. All right. So that's ending a 6-month cycle, the full moon in Libra. Okay. And in a 2-year cycle, because we've been on that Aries Libra axis, a 19-year cycle. I mean, this is a new beginning, new direction that you're moving into, but a lot of your commitments are going to be, a big focus or tested with a lot of these North Node activations as well. But anyway, just, North Node in Pisces all year, that's just your empathy being heightened. So remember that. Okay. And speaking of cycles, we are in a really big Neptune in Aries is a huge cycle, but it's a generational one. It's 14 years. It's big, all right? And it's part of this, again, at this convergence of, we start the Saturn Pluto cycle, the Jupiter Saturn cycle from January 2020. That's a 20-year cycle. So we're in that, yeah. But then you got to remember that I just said we're at peak solar maximum. So solar cycle, right? Through the end of this year. Then we're within that 12,000 year cycle I talked about, a 20,006 year cycle I talked about, the great age. We're at the end of that. We're leaving the end of the age of Pisces, right? We're leaving the age of Pisces. That is a 2,160 year, every sign. We're in an age every 2,000 years, 2,160-ish years. So we're moving into the age of Aquarius right now. We're on the brink of it. Pluto just moved into Aquarius. That's kind of like kicking things up. So that's a brand new cycle happening right now. That happened. It's happening right at this time of this once in a lifetime week that we're going through. So again, I want you to know you're about to experience some of the biggest changes you have never seen in your lifetime, and will never see again in your lifetime. Like, right, it starts right now. This is a brand new era. This is the Great Awakening, right? This is the age of ascension. And a lot of that has to do with Neptune moving into Aries. We are leaving the old world. We are leaving the old world. I told you that this 2025 is a year like you've never seen a year like 2025. All the planets changing signs, come on. But all the outer planets changing signs, come on. Come on. Oh, there goes Ruby. Oh, she's gonna stay in the screen. She's like, okay, I want attention. And she's doing a lot better. Thanks. And I see her comments and I really appreciate it. It's been, but she's walking, everything's great. But yeah, we're moving into fire and air energy, masculine energy. All outer planets hitting that 0 degree mark, new beginnings, right? 1 degree, like fresh new cycles. Oh, it's big. It's big. Okay. So remember, we're at the end of an era, literally. A huge one, the precession of the equinox, end of the age of Pisces. Big. All right. So, and when I say these outer planets, when I say you have never experienced what's happening right now, remember what I said, Pluto in Aquarius, the first time in 250 years, unless you are a vampire or a mermaid, you have never experienced, like, do you know what I mean? Like, nobody's experienced Pluto in Aquarius. Neptune in Aries, 164 years, nobody's experienced that. Unless again, remember, yeah. Are you Robert Pattinson from that Twilight movie series? Yeah, if you are, then maybe you did. But if no, I don't think you are. Uranus is going to move into Gemini in July. That's an 84-year cycle. So all this happening at the same time, at this convergence point, at the 0 degree mark. It's big. It's major. And then remember, Saturn, yeah, it's moving into Aries soon. That's why we're going to talk about that. And then Jupiter will move into Cancer. Jupiter's exalted in Cancer. Saturn, Neptune have not traveled together in some time, so we will talk about that. It's just, you cannot trace what's happening now, back in history. You can't trace it in modern human history. Okay, so literally what we're experiencing, nobody dead or alive has experienced this in modern human history. All right, so let's break things. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna deconstruct things as best as I can in a way that's just so simple, because Neptune in Aries is, like I said, it's a generational transit. It's just, you can't do it at an hour. Like, it takes time. And then Saturn moving into Aries just brings a whole different vibe shift. Yeah. But I'm just going to tell you about what you can expect for the next 2 years, really, because you want to concentrate on that, because there's something happening that's not going to happen for the whole 14-year, Neptune in Aries. All right. And Saturn's going to be there for the first 2-3 years. All right. Okay. And also remember, Mercury's retrograde. I hope that I don't if I say something weird, just let me know. And remember, astrology is just pattern recognition. We pick things up from the past. We can see where you know what I mean? So that's why I'm going to go through some things in history. And here's the other thing. And I'm just going to give you a little bit of I'm going to talk about some of the lower expressions of Neptune and Aries. Okay. And Neptune and Saturn and Aries, and Neptune and Uranus together with Uranus and Gemini, Neptune and Aries. So if you are sensitive to lower expressions of these, I'll tell you. I'll tell you when I start talking about that, because I don't want anyone to feel all right, just okay. So all right. Anybody have any questions so far? No. Are we good? Are everyone sleep? Everyone's yeah. Okay. Okay. Great. So, welcome to Neptune and Aries. That today, right? The first time, like I said, in 164 years, Neptune will move back into Pisces. Okay, in October this year, but until the end of the year, and then move back into Aries January 2026 until 2039. Okay, March 2039. All right, but with that said, Neptune will be between that critical degree, the 29-degree point of Pisces, to 2 degrees of Aries, just back and forth for the next 2 years. So you see, it's still hovering that 0-degree point. Okay. New beginnings, etc., all that. Now, Saturn, again, that is just going to bring a different shift. All right. And that's going to happen. Saturn's going to move into Aries May 25th, just for a few months, moving back into Pisces in September until the end of the year. All right. And then be in Aries. I think it's February February 2026. Okay, for a few years. All right. And that, when that happens, and this is gonna be a big deal. Okay, when Saturn and Neptune meet up in February 2026, it will be at the 0-degree point in Aries. And again, the very, very beginning of the very, very beginning. This is the creator degree. This is the Aries vortex. This is big. It's a reset. It's a big reset. And it is going to be, that is something that, Saturn and Neptune, they conjunct all the time. They, you'll see. But never at the beginning of, never at that creator degree. All right, the degree of creation. So when we get to February 2026, that is when the entire world will have changed. Remember, I said change is the only constant in the world. That's why I say 2026, the year of 10, is the year. All right. So what makes this story of Neptune moving into Aries with Saturn in Aries make a lot more sense is that they're going to be connecting with Uranus moving into Gemini and Pluto in Aquarius. Okay. And that's why I'm just focusing on the next 2 years, because that's where it's that's where you're going to feel it. Okay. And it's gonna be a thing, because they're all gonna be at that 0, 1, 2-degree point, very fresh and new. And again, nobody has experienced this. You haven't experienced Uranus and Gemini, Pluto and Aquarius, Neptune and Aries, and it's fire and air, right? Aries, fire, Gemini and Aquarius, air, for the next 2 years. All right. So just keep that in mind. And that's Saturn sextiling Uranus, Saturn sextiling Pluto, Uranus trining Pluto. That is the story. Okay. It's not just Neptune moving into Aries, 14 years. This is what's going to be. That's the story. That's the conversations the planets are having. They're working off each other. They're boosting things in a way that is very different from what we've been going through, which is earth and water, where things are, sure, a little bit more, fixed and a little bit more just, not so much, you know what I mean? Like things are going to be changing. Okay. All right. So, again, by the way, if you have any planets 1 degree or you're rising in mutable signs, cardinal signs, you're gonna feel it the most in your personal life. Okay. Now, um, by September, that's gonna be the strongest. Well, I would say like May to September with Neptune and Saturn sextiling both Uranus and Pluto, and then Uranus trining Pluto. I mean, it's just like bonkers. It's fire, air, fire, air. All right. So that is a golden triangle, is what we call like that's okay. So it is major. It's a trio. So again, it's not just Neptune and Aries. It's a trio of things happening here. That's it's like Wilson Phillips. All right. So just keep that in mind. Actually, no, it's like when you throw Saturn in the picture for a few months, yeah, then it's like the Beatles, or or it's like Wilson Phillips and their manager, right? Saturn being the authority. All right. So again, you're gonna feel this up until 2027. All right, 2028-ish. But do you see how it's what's happening? Neptune and Saturn are really amplifying that Pluto and Aquarius energy. Uranus and Gemini energy, like how we communicate, humanity, the masses. That's what Pluto and Aquarius is. Power to the people, breakdowns for breakthroughs. Okay. But more of like a spiritual revolution. And Neptune and Pluto, they've actually been sextile for the longest time, since the 1940s. So everyone here, if you've been I'm assuming if you were born from the 1940s to like now, then you have Neptune sextile Pluto in your birth chart. And this is going to be into like the 2040s, so like 100 years. Anyway, you know what? Let's just okay. So again, if you want to know for you personally how this is going to impact you, again, if you're a mutable sign or a cardinal sign, that would be Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces, and then Aries, Libra, Cancer, Capricorn. Yes, you'll be affected, right? But if you have any planets 27 degrees in your birth chart to the 3 degree mark, yep, you're gonna feel it. So, it is very spiritual. Neptune is very spiritual. Neptune is divinity. Neptune is spiritual. You're gonna find yourself, and I would recommend it, doing a lot more, spiritual work. You're gonna feel it. You are absolutely gonna feel it. Doing spiritual retreats, wellness journeys, working on your chi, your prana, your, connecting with the ether. Astrology is in the mix here as well, because Aquarius rules astrology. But anyway, Neptune is a planet that, like I said, is divinity. All right. It's creativity. It's your soul. It's what makes you human. It's what makes you authentically you, human, spiritually. Neptune represents the collective ideals, ideologies, all of that. Okay. Remember, Roman god of the sea. So a lot of compassion with Neptune, right? That's the sea emotions. And what Neptune is doing is it unites people through like shared experiences. And so Neptune has been in Pisces in its home sign the past 14 years, right? Over a decade. So it's been at home. It's just been kind of comfortable. It's all Neptune is dreams, all about your dreams. And it's what Pisces is anyway. So it's been like, oh, I'm in this dream wonderland. Now Neptune is moving into Aries, which is like the warrior god. And so it's a big wake-up call that's happening right now. Excuse me, you're having one of the biggest wake-up calls. Leaving that dreamy spiritual land where you've had your spiritual awakening where you've been waking up, and now it's like taking all of that and like, remember, the main archetype I want you to remember is Neptune and Aries is very spiritual warrior. Okay. And so it is like Neptune and Pisces, collective unconscious, that's really great. Endless ocean of possibilities. But there are those lower expressions where we were so comfortable with that spirituality at times, where sometimes we just maybe believed that people were helping us spiritually, because Neptune is also like illusion and delusion. And then people can take advantage of that and make you believe they're taking care of you and things like that. And Neptune is, escapism as well. Remember, there's lower energies. So just keep that in mind, because Neptune just left that 29-degree point, the critical degree, which is kind of this culmination, and it's going to be moving back there at the end of the year. And so it's like you're having this big aha moment, basically. Okay. It's just like you see that in the collective as well. All right. So now Neptune moving into Aries. Aries is, so when you add the two, it's like this idealism of like self, right? That's what Aries energy is. Aries is like the ego. I am in control. So again, you can't have Aries and Pisces are the complete opposite. So when I say you're going to feel this energy of Neptune and Aries, it's got to be for 14 years. And again, some of y'all may feel it subtly. Some of y'all are going to be feeling a lot stronger, but this is going to be the biggest wake up call that we've had in our lifetime. Okay. Neptune and Aries. That is a really big wake up call. You're becoming a lot more psychic because you already have, right? You spent, and think about the last 14 years. What was everything that was happening last 14 years? Astrology really hit a stride. Spirituality, psychic, telepathy tapes, all of that. Like really, yoga, like spiritual retreats, wellness journeys, things like that. Like that, big thing, right? So your pineal gland is going to be a lot more activated. Its consciousness is, that's going to be a big thing with Neptune and Aries. I've talked about this, the 4 C's of 2025: consciousness, the collective, community, courage. Your consciousness is going to be elevated to a whole other level. Remember, there are many levels of consciousness, many. And the more that your consciousness is repressed, it's almost like you're not at your full power. And so you are going to be so powerful because that's what Aries is, right? And so again, people have been awakening. People have been awakening the past 14 years at their own pace, Think about even, the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction that we had in 2020. Okay. So, that was a big deal because it happened in Aquarius. That humanity, the entire world was. Think about what happened between 2020 to like 2022 ish. Nobody in the world alive. We never, you know what I mean? But now with Neptune moving into Aries and Neptune at that 29-degree point with just a lot of other aspects that are happening. Now you're seeing maybe some things that were not completely told to you. So anyway, you know what? Just know that there's going to be some big shifts that are happening, and it's all up to you, because remember, it's all about the collective, but it's your role that you play. Yeah, we wouldn't have a collective if it wasn't for, we make up the collective. So we control the timeline. Like I said, history repeats itself. Astrologically, we can look at all these patterns, but there's so many different timelines. And, as a channeler clairvoyant, I've explained this, like there's shifts all the time. I've even gave you an example once in the past of like something that I channeled, something that I saw a month later, it completely changed. I was like, whoa, we just shifted timelines, right? Okay. And so it's all cycles, karmic cycles. we're never going to be able to move forward onto those higher timelines if we don't learn our karmic lessons, right? And so that's why I say that we create our reality. We can always do that. We as humanity can shift these timelines, and that is going to be a bigger thing with Neptune and Aries anyway, with Pluto and Aquarius at the same time. But just know that even though there's certain patterns, like we can shift it into those higher expressions of what these planets, transits, all of it represent. Okay, so again, we have to think of the role that we play and how we contribute to humanity. All right, and so we are leaving the old world. We're moving into a new one. And Neptune and Aries, that's with Saturn and Aries. That's like I told you, that's no more hive mind. All right, it's you and part of this collective shift, all about the movement for the collective. And honestly, people are hungry right now for positive change, right? For spiritual growth, for spiritual revolution. All right, so just remember that this is we're a team. We work as humanity. Okay, water flows, and again, Neptune, love, water. Neptune, water, as I mentioned, love, compassion, creativity, everything that is divine, that defines us as humans. That's what you're gonna feel. Okay, as we move into this mastery of self, which is this Aries energy. Okay, so bringing all that, think of the Emperor card, right? That is the Aries card, right? So Neptune and Pisces, again, that could have been a little bit like spell binding, hypnotizing, like honestly very spiritual. But again, think of some of those lower expressions where it is Neptune, like glamorizing. It could also be like spiritual bypassing, um, all of that. Okay, social media came out around the time Neptune and Pisces. Well, it became a thing, right? Influencers became a thing, and they, so that it wasn't anyway. So I'm sure you can catch on with what I'm saying. So we're about to have this big jump in consciousness, is all I'm saying. Okay, a really big one. So pay attention to your dreams. They're going to be vivid. You're probably having vivid dreams anyway with the energies right now. You can see where Neptune is in your chart, what it connects to, what it's aspecting. Some people dream more vividly than others. People even like astral project. All depends on like where Neptune is in your chart, like things. Okay, so things like that. And you just want to avoid that escapism part, because Neptune in Aries is going to ask you to be that spiritual warrior, that visionary leader, that visionary artist, that visionary creator, all of that. Okay, so this is really good for everybody, right? You're grabbing life by the spiritual horns, right? So you're gonna be in a time right now where you're possibly asking a lot of questions as part of this shift about you and your spiritual path and movement, and that's good. Okay, because that's you and your awareness and self-awareness and raising your energy and your frequency. And remember, the more that people vibrate at a high frequency in this world, the better it is for the collective. All right, so as we enter this new frontier, it's just gonna be really great. All right, really, really bonkers. And as I always say, it starts with you, and it starts with you and self-love. Okay, self-love, and unconditional love for all. All right, and that may be one of the hardest parts, is that because that's more okay, like love, spirituality, and less ego, less seeing side to side, like see or side versus side, the extreme polarities I've talked about. Trying to find love for people that you truly like that's hard. That's hard. But again, when you're vibrating at that high frequency, it's people around you feel that. It's energy. We feel energy. So anyway, I know that's going to be one of the hardest tests with Saturn and Neptune and Aries, but I'm going to talk about that too. All right. So anyway, you create your reality. Just know that. All right. As above, so below, right? As above, so below. Intuition is going to be off the charts. Self-awareness, it's going to be it's going to be big. And when I say our consciousness is going to be expanded on a whole other level, because when you think about Neptune, the collective unconscious, moving into a sign about the conscious. What? Who? So that's insane. And as I said, like, there are so many things. And again, you have to add in Uranus and Gemini that is going to accelerate communication and thinking and ideas and innovation, all of that, to a whole other level. Like, Uranus and Taurus is like burr, burr, burr. Uranus and Gemini is like whoosh, yeah. So we're coming out of Uranus and Taurus since 2018. So again, that's a whole new cycle for 8 years, Uranus and Gemini. Okay. And then again, Pluto and Aquarius, like, that revolutionizes everything. Technology, science. Remember, it's space. Yeah. And then yes, we will have, contact. It's going to be a thing, but consciousness is going to be a whole other level. Things, and when I say that, things that your mind could never have comprehended, come through. It's all coming through for the next 14 years, but in the next 2 years specifically. Okay, big time with all these planets that are in new signs. It's like, I scored a spot in the America's Next Top Model house with these 14 other contestants. We won out of 1,000, and we're excited. Let's see what we could do. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of thing. Okay. But anyway, so everything, and remember, I've told you, a good percentage of what we know are just theories. A lot of the things that even Neptune represents, we don't know much about, because Neptune's so mysterious and so nebulous. And so, dreams, we don't know. We don't know anything about dreams, and we haven't since human history. Now we will. Okay, now we will. Gravity, again. I'm talking about Neptune stuff, Pluto stuff, Uranus stuff. Gravity, sure, we know it exists. We don't know why. Scientists don't know why. So again, nobody there. You can't even time itself, right? We know it's real. But you're seeing all this new scientific breakthroughs with everything that I'm mentioning, and you're going to see so much more in ways that you're like, whoa, I didn't know that, right? Why does time move in one direction? It shouldn't. Time is just, so anyway, dark matter, dark energy, all of that. Consciousness, we don't know anything about. You go to any Nobel winning, you know what I mean? Like, they're all theories, but now you've been seeing a lot of scientific breakthroughs on consciousness, right? You're going to see a lot more in 2 years. Okay. So y'all are amazing. It's like, you got to, I mean, even those big questions, right? Why are we conscious? But then other things that are alive are not, right? Do you know what I mean? Like, they have that self-awareness. Does that make sense? I think I even mentioned, like, Big Bang. There's been so much new stuff, like, maybe, it's just like they got to look at Big Bang again, because it's not. And you've seen, as Neptune's been on that 29 critical degree and moving into Aries, there's some theories. Again, Big Bang is just a theory. It's just a theory. And you're seeing more evidence pile up in different directions, like string theory, multiverse theory, I don't know, so many other theories, panpsychism, all of that, right? So remote viewing is going to be a whole thing. Like, I think y'all know that I've done that, and a lot of people, there's a lot of remote viewers in this world, and that's when you can see where it's like the CIA. Obviously, we all know about this. The CIA had remote viewers That was a whole thing. And that's not even like conspiracy. That's like they've talked about it, so it's not. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you're going to be seeing more of that, remote viewers. I mean, like, and that's been making big headlines. Nobody talked about remote viewing for a long time, but then the CIA worked with those subjects a lot secretly, but like again, they admit it, and everything came out. But anyway, it's even on their website. But like Project Stargate was a big thing, but they started working with remote viewers back in the the Cold War or whatever. It just started coming out again. I just saw somewhere, I think it was on Instagram or something, but like the Ark of the Covenant is coming back around. How the CIA used remote viewers to locate that. And then of course the thing, the Giza, you've heard about that, the things underneath the pyramids. That was predicted back in the 1920s. That was predicted back in like, I mean, thousands. It's a long time. And so history is going to be changing. You're going to see a lot of things that we have been told something differently, but now all the evidence is coming out for, oh, actually, this is real. And I'm not confirming or denying any of that, but I'm just saying that these are coming up. All right. So it's just like things that you never thought in your, you know what I mean? Like groundbreaking things. So again, let's just really briefly recap Neptune and Aries for the next 14 years. It's a big wake up call. It's a big wake up call. And to be honest, it's going to be very different in the next 2 years. Strong Neptune and Aries again. Very, just think spiritual warrior. All right, the self consciousness. It's going to be really, really, really big. All right, so visionary leader. But then again, remember, I talked about this. It can be delusional leader. Yeah, Neptune and Aries can be remember, I talked about those polarities. Gandhi, the best example of someone with Neptune and Aries, all about the collective. Yeah, very spiritual, very wise, pioneering. But then so was Julius Caesar. Okay, very extremely different. Who had Neptune and Aries. Okay, so it's all about these extremes. You vibrate at the high frequency. You're going to be using it in your favor. It's going to be really great. You're going to see a lot of big changes happening. A lot of big changes happening in the world. Really, like crazy genius kids. Like Uranus is all. It's there's a lot of young. When we talk about humanity. Anyway, I'm not. Let's just keep going because I'm looking at the time. I'm like, what? It's going to be big. All right. Anybody have any questions about how science, medicine, society, space, everything is going to be changing in the next 2 years? Let me know. Okay. So, well, actually, let me actually look and see if, well, hold on. Let me just, while you put your questions together, let me just see if I can find this page of notes that there. Okay, I think that here we go. Okay, so what I was going to tell you is that well, let me jump to Saturn. Let me jump to Saturn and Aries real quick. And then I'll tell you some other stuff. Anyway, okay, you know what? I can't find the notes, but Saturn and Aries, again, just think, let's see, how can I, okay. Just remember, with Neptune and Aries, you have a choice with anything, right? It's just, everyone has, we have the gift of choosing, right? So Neptune and Aries, the divine, remember, it says divinity, is going to be guiding you in the direction you need to go. The expression that you want to use, choose the vibration you want to vibrate at. It's 164-year cycle. You've never used it. It's going to be very fun for you to, work with this energy. and Neptune in Aries can be a little bit hard to, because it is so nebulous. She is kind of like a magician with like magic tricks, kind of like a ghost, dreams, illusion, spirituality, ideals, all of that I mentioned. Okay. So just know we're going, Neptune Aries is that, big, 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 big spiritual renaissance, that an enlightenment. Okay. That awakening that we've gone through, but now we're taking it to the next level. Okay. So, a recap of the lower expression: deception, delusion, manipulation, spiritual manipulation, people telling you things that you want to hear, taking advantage of you being in a spot where you're not, spiritually active, like things like that. So just be mindful of that. Okay. So, all right. So, all right. Neptune in Aries is also, Aries is very assertive. Just remember that. Okay. So, I think, therefore I am. That's Aries. And your self-belief, therefore, is going to be like really cranked up. It is the I am with the spiritual, with belief, and you're just going to have a big spiritual upgrade for the next 14 years. You've got clarity with consciousness, with the collective unconscious. Like I said, just Neptune actually softens those. Saturn and Aries can come in really, really, really hard. Okay. That can be very ego, very my way or the highway, a lot of limitations. That's what Saturn is. The authority can be really, really hard. So Neptune actually helps when they're together. Okay. So just prepare to again, best thing is just to be open-minded. Okay. Spend time in nature, be open-minded. You're going to be great. Do that meditation, do that visualization, crystal work, acupuncture. And when I say that, just even just doing things you've never done before to start opening yourself up to, opening up your consciousness. Okay. Even visualizing in ways that's Neptune is visualization. Remember, I've talked about this it's so many times. So even visualizing in ways that you never have before. And a lot of you are just going to do that anyway. All right. Okay, let me tell you about Saturn and Aries just real quick. That is going to be, that's edgy. So Saturn moves into Aries every 30 years, pretty much. Okay. So, and that's going to happen. Saturn's going to be in Aries while Neptune's there. Again, Neptune's going to soften a lot of the hard edges of Saturn. Saturn is time, authority, all of that. Okay. So even with what's happening now, it kicks off. It's just like a cycle that plays out. Okay. Everything here with Neptune and Saturn and Aries, it is a complete reset. Okay. Especially when we get to February 2026. Especially with a lot of realities are going to come out with Saturn and Aries. A lot of truths are going to come out with Saturn and Aries. Okay. There's going to be big shifts in your identity, how you relate to the collective. And again, remember, Saturn Aries is going to be until 2028. All right. It's going to be in and out of Pisces, but just know that this is going to be a thing. All right. So the last time Saturn was Aries was 1996, 1999. There was that's when you really saw the internet take off. Okay. The first. And then it's been a lot of kind of like first for a lot of things, but a lot of Saturn is in Aries is very individual versus groups or individuals feeling they have against authorities. Right. That's just kind of the big takeaway, because again, there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more to it. All right. So does anybody have any questions before I really get dive deep here? Okay, because I am gonna go into some things that are a little bit more lower frequency, that you may just, it's gonna be a thing. Wait, where? Okay, so I cannot believe I lost my notes. This is okay. All right. So, oh, I know where they are. I know where they are. Here they are. Okay. Any questions before? I'll go through your and if I don't answer a question, you can always put it again because sometimes I have to like scroll and scroll. I don't have like a moderator. I'm not like fancy. So, okay, let's talk about Saturn and Neptune together. Okay, so that again, Saturn and Neptune in Aries together, which you're going to start feeling May until about September, all summer pretty much. That is Saturn reality, right? Neptune dream. So again, they're working together, making your dreams become reality. All right. Consciousness, big thing here. All right. Remember, Neptune, the collective unconscious, very nebulous, very, can be fantasy and illusion. Neptune dissolves anything it touches. There's no borders with Neptune, but Saturn is borders. Saturn is limitation. Saturn, again, is authority, brings in those reality checks. So you've got illusion, fantasy with the hard, cold reality of like Saturn. Again, those are the lower expressions. In Aries, the warrior god. Okay. The really, but again, also the leader, the, entrepreneur, the beginning, all of that great stuff. So use it. Okay. You're not going to get this for, a long time. Saturn and Neptune meet up every, 36-ish years. All right. So, remember, Saturn's also life lessons and karma. So you're going to be learning a lot about yourself. You're having that karmic cycle again here and awakening. But when they get together, it is the collapse of like old systems. I told you that we're leaving the old world. We're leaving the new. Now, I'm even without Saturn and Neptune together, that's what's happening. Now that you throw in Saturn and Neptune together in Aries, that amplifies the end of the old, beginning of the new. Okay. So outdated systems, structures, traditions, and the birth of new collective visions, future directions. You throw in Pluto and Aquarius in the mix. Remember, I said they're going to be aspecting all. That's the masses. That's humanity. That's community. It's also revolution. Okay. Freedom. Remember, Uranus in Gemini is part of this mix, part of this, triangle. That's freedom. Uranus, which is Aquarius's ruler, right? So it's like really amplified here. Breakthroughs. Okay. Uranus is all about breakthroughs, freedom, innovation. Yeah, again, you can use this. You're moving into sign of the beginning, the sign of the pioneer. And with Neptune leaving Pisces, moving into Aries, meeting it with Saturn, that is just saying we're not going to be like dreaming anymore. We're actually going to be doing. Yeah. Like, remember, turning your dreams into reality, like really taking that bold step, having that courage. That's what that Aries energy is. And then Saturn is going to help bring that stability, that structure. There's got to be some times he tests you. Remember, Saturn is limitation and test. And so you got to work with him. I say it all the time. You got to work with his rules. He's karma. He's going to reward you when you learn your lessons. You have to learn all of that. Okay. The last time they were together was like 1989. These two, when Saturn and Neptune were together, it was 1989. Okay. So, but it was like in Capricorn, which is like structures and power structures. And anyway, that's when, the Berlin Wall came down. Okay. A lot of like, if you trace it back, and I have a timeline of like every time that Saturn and Neptune were together, there's just been a lot of like, the time before that was 1952, 1953. That's when like the CIA. Remember, I just talked about like remote viewing. That's when they were doing a lot of that. They were, you know, MK Ultra. I don't know if you heard of that. Again, that's very Saturn, which is like control, and Neptune, the, you know, spirituality, higher, all of that. Okay, like, and Neptune is creativity. Remember that. All right. So, and then that was also a time where, you know, there was a lot of like those Eastern philosophies and traditions were being introduced, you know, to the US and whatnot. So anyway, just know again, Saturn and Neptune together, a lot of systems dissolve. And so when I say February 2026, when they're coming at that 0 degree point, the beginning of the beginning in Aries, it's this complete new world. Yeah. Okay. Now, a rebirth. Okay. Now, okay. So now this is a point where you, if you wanna hop off, or if you're watching this video because I'm posting this video, this is where I'm gonna get into a little bit some of the lower expressions. Okay. Just to let you know. All right. Because there's a bigger thing at play here. Okay. So, and make this fast because I'm looking at the time. I'm like, okay. So Neptune and Aries, remember that hasn't happened in 164 years. Okay, so when you trace that back, that was like 1861 to 1875, right? So if you think about that, that was, you know, around the time of like the American Civil War, FYI. All right, so that's the thing. Okay, and just let you know because we're looking at the patterns. Yeah. And I'm not saying that it's going to happen. I'm not saying that. Remember, I said we get to choose our timeline. There's different expressions, very different expressions of a lot of these aspects, okay, and transits. But it was literally, I think it was like a day after Neptune moved into Aries. That's when it all started. That was like, you know, it started the first, you know, fires were shot. So you also have to remember that it was like slavery was abolished. You know, the Red Cross was founded. Again, just it's all about action. It's Aries, it's all about action. Okay. And Aries is, you know, ruled by Mars, who is the warrior god. So it is, yes, there's like themes of war that can come up. Okay. But around that time, it was also the big, remember, we're talking about Neptune. So it was a big revival with like the spiritual mysticism, the metaphysical, occult, all of that. Okay. Esotericism. It was like it was laying the groundwork. Okay. This was the time. Okay. So that was like a big thing that was happening. This is huge spiritual movement. The seed was planted around this time. All right. So keep that in mind. This is a lot of, it's the collective unconscious. It can be mass. This is the masses. So keep that in mind. All right. And then the time before that was, you know, again, like, I'm just going to keep this brief. Every time Neptune's moved into Aries, it's always brought themes of leadership and moral authority and the collective and ideals and, you know, like war. Every 164 years. All right. Now, Saturn moving into Aries. The last time that happened was 1967 to 1969. So that was the thing before the last, right? So that we know what happened around that time. That was like a lot of, you know, that was like Vietnam War. That was a lot of protests and things like that. Revolt. Again, it's a lot of like authority. it's the people fighting authority, a lot of that. Okay, so that was like a thing. But again, a lot of other stuff happening. Now, here's the thing: when you throw in Neptune and Pluto and Uranus, I mean, again, just you got to put all the pieces together. Yeah. And so Neptune and Pluto actually conjuncted in around that time, like when Neptune wasn't, because a couple decades later. But remember, conjunctions basically plant seeds, and they're meeting up again. And so we're playing out this vibration of that with a trine that's happening for the next 2 years. All right. So again, that's going to be important, because this was when airplanes were coming out. This was the Chicago World Fair came out. That was a big thing, because that was like all about Nikola Tesla, wireless energy, free energy. We're talking about Uranus and Gemini. We're about to experience. Yeah, it was like Sigmund Freud was like a big thing. Thomas Edison, big thing right there. But that whole Nikola Tesla thing, like that, when I talk about energy, vibration, frequency, I talk about in everyone's readings all the time, live streams all the time. That was Nikola Tesla's thing. Okay. And when I say that, a lot of things that were hidden from us from the past, when he actually proved free energy, that's gonna start coming to light. All right. And that was the time of this, like, spiritualism was like hugely on the huge alchemy, all that. It all came back. It was all coming back. Like what is it? The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, right? That was, with Aleister Crowley. It was Yeats, Bram Stoker, all of that. That was like the time of, the deck that I use, the Rider-Waite Smith tarot deck, that, Waite and Pamela Coleman Smith, that they were part of that. That was rising hard in like 1893, like just after all of that. So again, that big spiritual movement and symbolism and numerology and mysticism and Kabbalah, all of that. Okay, so just keep that was a big thing. And so yeah, there's just, again, it's so hard to talk about this. It's so hard to talk about this in an hour. This is like a series. You have to do a whole series. And so last thing, Uranus moving into Gemini. So again, I told you that happens roughly every 84 years. Uranus is all about, innovation, breakthroughs, progress, but also revolution. And Gemini is just, as we know, it's a sign of communication, ideas, thought. So transportation as well, media as well. So the way that we are going to see things and speak and communicate, especially with Pluto and Aquarius, that's amplifying, technology. Like, look at where we're at with AI. 3 years ago, nobody even knew what AI. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what Pluto's doing right now in Aquarius, taking technology to a whole level, and now working with its BFF air sign. Like, do you know what I mean? So big. So there's going to be major breakthroughs. Okay, like quantum leaps, and you've already seen headlines with a lot of this. Okay, now Uranus and Gemini every 84 years is its cycle. All right, so that would be 1941, 1949 was the last time, and that was there was a world war going on at that time, and there was but also, like, again, just a lot of great stuff happening, a lot of things with like breakthroughs in science and rockets and jet engines and things like that. But when you go back another 84 years, that overlaps Neptune and Aries, American Civil War, that's happening. So again, this is going to be overlapping that time. But again, that around that time, that was like journalism, newspapers were like becoming like a big thing. Anyway, so you know, you take that back 84 years, that would be before that, 1775 to 1782. Yes, that was the signing of the Declaration of Independence, the American Revolution, and all of that. At the same time, Pluto was in Aquarius, right? Because that's been 250 years. So there's that overlap. So once again, I'm not saying any of this is going to happen. I'm just pointing out the patterns. And like I said, there's a lot of different timelines. We have this opportunity to shift at a different frequency, to shift in this new direction as we approach this opportunity in February 2026. Which direction does humanity want to go? Where it starts now, and we've got this time. And so we have to vibe it. Like I said, we can choose our timeline, because a lot of aspects that have happened in astrology, you can see that, oh, that lower expression didn't happen like this because it was the higher expression. Does that make sense? And so that's why there's got to be some change. It's already happening at this point that I told you about, but with this trine, with Uranus and Pluto involved now, that is major in your personal lives. It's insanely major in terms of the breakthroughs that you will have. You will become a bigger spiritual leader. You're going to be the spiritual warrior, right? That's the archetype for Neptune and Aries, but also visionary. And you're going to help, you lead the world in the way that you want it to. You're going to be contributing to the collective. And that is like the big thing. Uranus and Gemini is major. Okay. It's major. And Uranus and Pluto get together every like 27 years. We did have a Uranus Pluto conjunction in like the 1500s when they were, so again, like here, there's that was like this big revolution there because Pluto was in Aquarius at that time. Like what kicked off that era. And that was like with Galileo, that was, Kepler, that was with Shakespeare, that was with, it's just like, remember, there's all these radical changes. That's what Uranus does. It shakes things up. All right. And Pluto will break things down to how that break through, because he's saying this is not working. And he's working with Saturn and Neptune right now. Okay. In this auspicious aspect, saying, I'm going to help you break this old system down that hasn't been serving humanity, to have this new world that we can live in that's amazing and beautiful, and we can all have this, but it depends on humanity. It depends on humanity. All right. So so there you go. That's why we can pick our timeline. Anyone have any questions? I know that was a lot. And I kind of like, again, it is so hard to, it's just like, I can't even begin to tell you, like, it's just so hard to wrap all this up. Like, you have to break it down in so many different videos, or do like a 6-hour video. And I just don't it's a lot. It's a lot. Okay. But I want you to know, a lot of people are going to be, every astrologer, like, it's their duty to talk about this and talk about, Neptune and Aries moving into Aries for the next 14 years, Neptune moving with Saturn as well. They're going to be dancing together for a few years as well. So I'm bringing that element of like, but don't forget, Pluto in Aquarius and Uranus in Gemini for the first 2 years is going to make a huge, because it's all going to be up until like 2-3 degrees. Like it's tight. And then it's going to be very different after 2027. Yeah, I would even say 2028, but still So, and I'm not saying no, I mean, like, obviously others are, but it is, that's what you have to see here. Okay. That's what you have to see here. That's the big picture here. So it's not just Neptune and Aries. It's not just Neptune and Saturn and Aries. It's the conversations that they're having with Pluto and Aquarius and Uranus and Gemini, and the actions that are going to unfold. And again, every sign is going to feel it differently. And I wanted to break it down for every sign, but I just don't. I mean, that's just because again, it's all of that happening. And remember, these are very auspicious. This is great. This is great. It's not an opposite. It's great. So we have this opportunity to move in that direction. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? I feel like a lot of y'all may. Let me just scroll back a little bit. And again, if I don't go all the way back, feel free to leave your question again. If you ask something that all right. Okay, where am I? Jackie, you asked for the upcoming weekend, should I be with people or nature? That is up to you. It's completely up to you. But of course, it depends on like what is going to help you, vibrate at that high frequency. Like it really is down to trusting your intuition. And with Neptune and Aries, again, everybody's intuition will be off the charts, which is great. Okay. Because you can also think of Saturn, when Saturn comes in, remember I said he's helping your dreams become reality. Neptune is dreams, right? But you can also think of that as like, intuition as well. Okay. Or you can even think of like, he's bringing this really strong base and foundation to your creativity or your intuition and whatnot. Okay. But it's just so interesting with the fact that Neptune dissolves, there's no borders in Neptune or in Pisces, and and Saturn is like limitations and borders, and so it's this compromise. And Pisces, by the way, remember, we're not done. Okay, so you're still, and that is a spiritual awakening in itself. Like what's happening here with all this Pisces energy, the North Node in Pisces for a year and a half, okay, up until mid 2026, we still have the North Node in Pisces. Remember, I said a lot of these planets are moving back to Pisces at the end of the year. We're still not done, okay, with that Pisces energy, and it's still this amplified spirituality. It's intuition, it's healing, it's a lot of self-belief energy here with all that Aries energy too. Oh my gosh, Babs on one, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Oh my gosh. Thank you. I'm always like speechless, but it really means a lot to me. So I really appreciate that. Thank you so much thank you. I appreciate it. Ready for the shift. Yeah. I am too. Okay. So, okay. I guess there's not a lot of, okay. There we, I feel like, oh, well, I'm at, okay. Let me ask, and I'm just going to go through the questions. I see a lot of people asking about their birth charts. I'm just going to, well, I'll see if there's anything. Okay, so M. Lopez, you say, as an Aquarius with Virgo moon, will I feel it with positive change? So I'm going to answer that because I'm going to answer it where everyone can get something from this. We just had a lunar eclipse in Virgo, right? So everyone's feeling that. And I'm not to like give anything away, but so I just did your April monthly forecast. Now I'm just about to release the first week and a half of April. There's a lot of stuff I did not have time to talk about in your April forecast that I'm going to be talking about. Remember, we're approaching, next weekend is the most bonkers weekend. And once again, for some of y'all, yes, you're going to feel things happen right away. Some of y'all, you're going to feel just a big shift start happening. You're going to see things opening up for you. So if something doesn't happen like on that day, don't, kick holes in walls. Like there's you're going to be impacted. And if you're, that's low frequency. So it makes it harder for you to get the things that you want. Right. So I always talk about that. But anyway, yeah. So there is going to be something else happening with, or just think of like kind of like a little bit of an extension of that lunar eclipse in Virgo that we just had, because there is going to be something that happens with that Virgo energy for everybody. Okay. And of course I break it down. I tell you exactly what it is for your sign in those videos, but just keep that in mind. And hello, twinsy. I'm me, Aquarius and Virgo moon as well. Yes. So, all right. Now, and yeah, all the mutable signs, by the way, with that Virgo energy, remember I just said that's like being adaptable, and we are, everyone's feeling that shift with that, but anyone who has Virgo placements will feel that aspect, so anyway, okay, Carrie, great to see you. Okay, so you said, I would love to hear your feelings around regular banking systems. I get the feeling they will crumble or some major shift with banks. Your thoughts? Yes, Carrie, that's a really, banking institutions. Yes. So it's a really great question. And I did talk about this in my channeling videos. So I would take a look at that. But yes, there is going to be a big change. All right. So, and then you have to remember that there's going to be, there's just going to be a lot of big changes, and you see that's been building up anyway with like Bitcoin and things that are going digital. So there's just going to be a big change, and that's why I'm saying change is the only constant in this world. Anything that happens, you have to adapt to it. But Neptune and Aries is going to help you. Neptune, Saturn, and Aries is going to help you. Neptune and Saturn sextiling Jupiter, or not Jupiter, but Uranus and Pluto are going to help you. Okay, so it's just, there's going to be so many changes. And when I say yes, the end of systems and structures, just think about that. Okay, moving into new ones. All right, so yes, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's going to be a change that we've never seen. But I mean, like, have anybody seen anything about Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, before the past 5, 6, 7, whatever it is years? No. So now we're on this new, like, that's going to be a bigger thing, but again, not saying it's, I'm just saying, yes, there's going to be a shift. Just, there's going to be shifts. Okay. I hope that's helpful. M. Lopez, thank you so much. You're amazing. Yeah, you please watch your video because you are Virgo moon, I would just watch your Virgo. And that's the other thing, just, yeah. What's happening is you have to remember what's happening the first 2 weeks of April is coming after this week, the once in a lifetime. It's still extending. You're still going to be feeling it. So it's just, again, think of it like as this wave pushing you in this new direction. And so I always say you've got to make room for new things, because there's a lot of planets and aspects and things that are waiting to bring all this new stuff for you, to your consciousness. It's going to be harder if you don't let some of the things go. When I say the old world, even up here, even just old ways of thinking that just no longer work for you, let it go. Bring in those new ways of thinking and feeling and seeing things. Okay, so Lori, you asked about med beds. Yeah, well, yeah, scientific medical breakthroughs, big. All right. Remember, it's a 19-year process with Pluto and Aquarius. You can throw in Uranus and Gemini for 8 years too. So yeah, it's a lot of these are not going to see like overnight, but it's we were moving in that direction. Yeah. Jan Har. When Neptune is in Aries, but it is not that in our chart, do we just look at to where Neptune is in our chart, or do we look at where it is transiting to know the effect? That is a very good question. Yeah. So nobody has Neptune and Aries in their chart. Nobody here. Remember, it's been 100, unless you're a vampire. It's been 164 years. Nobody has it. As of today, until 2038, that is the generation on top of Pluto Aquarius. Remember, that's until 2044. So the people born now for the next 14 years, your children. That's why I've said many times, what do you want to pass down to your kids, to your grandkids? These are generational aspects. You're setting up a world to leave them. Yeah, humanity. We are. And so you have to, that's why I'm saying you have to think of humanity, not just yourself right now. You have to think about how you're contributing to humanity, because that is going to make a huge difference. But yes, that is nobody has Neptune in their in Aries in their chart. But yeah, you can always see where Neptune is in your chart and what it's aspecting. But again, like I said, the people that really, really will feel it the most will be mutable cardinal signs, or in your chart, planets there between 28 to like 1-2 degrees 3. I'd even go. Okay. Tiffany, thank you so much. Thanks for that. Y'all and your super stickers. I love it. Thank you so much. Y'all, I gotta pop these vitamins real quick. Yeah, I'm still getting better. Green. Okay, good to see you. You're the best. Okay. All y'all are the best. Okay, so Carrie, you said, so history shows us the wars, but humanity now in Age of Aquarius, we can choose to go in a different direction. So we could essentially break the history cycle of war. Yes, and it's not just, being in the Age of Aquarius, it's every day. Every day we have that choice, right? But if you look at the bigger picture, remember what I just said with Neptune and Pisces, and then we also had Pluto and Capricorn that entire time too. Yeah, and that's very government, very structure, very you got to do this. But then Neptune and Pisces manipulating people and those lower expressions, and so it's every day. It's every day that we can choose a different path. All right, so it doesn't. But we get this great energy starting now with what just happened over the weekend, right? And that's building. But then, yes, with Pluto and Aquarius, which is all about humanity, which is all about revolution, all about power to the people, because it's all about that imbalance of power. I've talked about this, where it's just like you've got like just a couple, like just maybe like hundreds of people right at the top that control 8 billion people on this planet. No, that's not how this was, even in the US, if you think about it, it's like, it's we the people, not we the government. It's we the people. And so throughout the past centuries, people have forgotten that. And I know, actually, no, I voted for you to do this for us, and you haven't done, so people have forgot about that, and people are starting to see it. That's what I'm saying. You're starting to see those cracks. You're starting to see, like, how does this elected official whose salary is $200,000 a year has a net worth of 20 million and can build a $9 million home here and can do, so you're going to start seeing a lot more of that, because there's a lot of, remember, Pluto likes to excavate and show you truths, all about bringing those secrets to the surface. And again, it's all about that balance for power to the people. It's all about humanity. Okay, so you're going to see a huge shift, but yes, we can break any cycle we want to. Okay. There's so many different timelines. There's so many. Okay. Carrie, that is a really good question. Do you feel war needs to happen so that we can go in the new direction? I do feel that there needs to be whatever is going to happen is what humanity chooses. But we can always flip the script whenever we want to. And if you think about humanity for our modern human history, there has not been a time where there's not been war, right? There's never been a time. But like I said, we're approaching this great reset that has never happened in our human history. So, Yeah. Can that happen? Absolutely. Can that, because we get to make the rules. We get to choose. But yes, I do believe that there are so many people vibrating at this really low frequency that are in positions of power where they shouldn't be. And again, I'm not pointing out a single person, okay? I'm just saying there's a lot of people who have taken advantage of certain systems where, people who are, I don't know, let's say there's a huge hurricane flood that destroys like a whole town in North Carolina, and those people still, nothing, they got nothing, like no help, right? So little things like that are gonna like are starting to wake people up. That's what I'm saying. This, you're going through your awakening, you're seeing like remember I've talked about like who's on my side, who's not on my side, who's actually supporting me, who's not supporting me, things like that. Like your consciousness is raising. And so there is going to be I think that yes, there's sometimes we do have to have those breakdowns to have those breakthroughs. And I've made the analogy, life isn't a Disney movie, right? But we have to go through challenges. Now we're thinking about humanity has to go through some moments to come out on top. But even when you think about Disney movies, any hero for any Disney movie, they have to go through some hard decisions and hard challenges to have that fairy tale ending or whatever, right? Just coming out on top. So yeah, that's what life is. That's what karma is. That's what our we if you know what I mean, like we have to make. But again, it's more about humanity. It's like, how can I contribute to humanity and to the generations that I feel like maybe some people may feel like the generations before us didn't make great decisions, didn't think about us, or millennials, or they didn't, right? And now we have to do that for the younger generations. And we are going to be in that place of being spiritual warrior. Like we are going to, like, that's all that's going to matter, is getting to that point where everything is cool. Like we're good. So yeah. Oh, Jackie, thank you so much. You're amazing. I love y'all. You love you, Jimmy. I am excited to start reading the books you suggested. Just receive them. I'm so glad. Really appreciate all that you do. Thank you so much. Well, I appreciate you, and and I love that I see that happens at 1:28 is the time. So that's really, really funny because, well, that's my birthday, January 28th, but I've been waking up at I've been like again, I haven't been I think I told you I haven't been sleeping well at all. I've been going to bed at like 3 or 4 in the morning. And so I've been waking up at 8:21 every morning. How crazy is that? It's like backwards for my birthday. Isn't that weird? Like every morning, just naturally at 8:21. I look at the alarm, I'm like, what? Anyway. So okay, I'm glad that okay, great. Everyone cool with everything I said, because that was a lot of oh my gosh, this is okay. But Jackie, thanks so much, and I hope you enjoy the books. And I'm gonna put some more because I'm getting a lot of comments about a lot of stuff where I can just easily just put it in my description box. So in the description box for your weekly and monthly forecast, I do write the things like earthing mat, the earthing mat that I use, that I put my feet on when I'm not outside, that, helps that energy, everything, your free, everything. But, books that I recommend, books that changed my life, things like that. And so I'm going to add a couple more things too for this week's reading that a lot of y'all ask questions about that I feel like can be helpful as well. Okay. Anai for tarot readings, the second spread is just for third level members. Yes. And the second spread I do this week. Whoa, I do an extra. Here's the other thing, by the way. Here's the other thing. And maybe it is because I am a Gemini rising and a Virgo moon and an Aquarius. Like that's all up here, right? So your weekly readings are once again like an hour long. You can go straight to the tarot reading if you want to, but what's happening next week is just really, it's like very, 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 very life changing. Okay, very, 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 for everybody. It doesn't matter what sign you are. That's why I had to include the Libra full moon. Okay, remember, it's the end of a 6-month cycle. It's the end of a 2-year cycle. It's the end of like a 19-year cycle. You know what I mean? Like it's all happening at this point of convergence of all these cycles, but also there is something else happening that's really amplifying that energy too. Okay, there's a lot of stuff that I didn't like. Okay, so that's another thing. It's like after next week, I'm gonna have to go back down to like the normal like 30-minute because it's. But anyway, but you know I love y'all, but I have to give you this information. I have to. I want the best for you. I want you to plan everything. But yes, and I thank you. And it is my way of giving back. It's my way of like I can actually do this when I to the tier 3 members who it's that's so thank you. Oh, Denise, thank you. Oh my gosh. Oh, thank you for the 20. Oh, y'all are amazing. I really appreciate y'all. That's I know I'm gonna take it. I gotta take it. I have to. Oh gosh, I gotta eat. Okay, so I'm gonna let you go. Denise, thank you so much. Lisa, you asked, I'll just do a couple more questions. Do you think we will ever see other life forms come to light in our lifetime? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Within a year. Yeah, within a year, 2 years. And that's the other thing. They're already here. It's hard to explain. It's like as a channeler, it's hard to explain, but they're already, it's hard to explain. But yeah, but also if you want to, even what do you mean? NASA, like even the whole thing with Mars, right? They found the organic, they basically found like proof of like life on Mars but like ancient, right? Like that life existed there and stuff like. But anyway, there's just again like these scientific breakthroughs and communication. Uranus, Gemini, all of this is like UFO stuff anyway. Like Pluto and Aquarius, it's all it's all space. It's all communication, like different levels of. Remember, so yeah, but yes. Dawn, oh, I love you just upgraded so you can start watching those videos. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. You have no idea how much it means to me. So thank you. And help support me, like able to do this. Like y'all, I don't want you to forget that I have a full-time job. It's like it's a lot. But again, the energies of the past 2 weeks have just been like bonkers anyway. So it's not like I've already been feeling it, and it's like again, I have to make sure you get all the information, but yeah, after this week's readings and things simmer down a little bit, right? But it is April, which I have told you is life-changing, game-changing, it's bonkers. You're gonna see a lot of things happen, you're gonna see a lot of changes happen in your life. It's not even, it's like non-negotiable, it's like you'll see. But again, like see things play out. Remember, everyone's different, everyone has different charts. A lot of it depends on the actions you take. I see a lot of comments where there's a lot of just like nothing happened for me. I'm like, well, what did you like but that's also, remember, everything's made of energy. So even your thoughts, where's that coming out of your mouth? Like I'm not even joking. That's going to be also, that's very Neptune and Aries too. That's going to be more in your conscious. So even like the words that you say, like when you say something mean to someone says something mean to you, what does that do to your energy? It makes your energy, it lowers your frequency. Their frequency is like clearly lowered. So when you write something that's nothing happens to me, you're creating that reality for yourself, that energy for yourself. It makes it harder for you for things to happen for you because you're telling you're letting, you know what I mean? Like it's coming out of a place of like, I deserve better. Do you know what I mean? Like, but not as in like, I worked really hard and I deserve this, but I am still grateful for everything that has been happening for me. Do you know what I mean? Like there's a difference. Anyway, okay, y'all, I really gotta go. I gotta go. Y'all are amazing. Y'all are amazing. I hope that answered all your questions. It's a thing. It's a thing. We'll do it. We'll do this again. Happy Neptune and Aries today. All right. Happy like life-changing weekend. Another great weekend coming up, but a lot of bonker stuff happening very soon. You're gonna see it play out, but just wait until April, like see what happens. But there's going to be some aspects that are requiring you for the next 2 weeks to just let some things go, to let in the new. That's all it is. Let some things go to let in the new. Yeah. Y'all are amazing. I hope hope everyone's having a great weekend. Thank you so much. Y'all are amazing. Y'all are y'all are so amazing. All right. So I will see you soon. I will set up the next one. I gotta again like look at my schedule, but you'll get the thing, okay? The notification. Okay. Thanks, y'all. I love y'all. I'll see you soon. Okay. Thanks so much. All right. Bye bye.